How you guys doing? It's another Music Gear Monday. It's another one. I've gotten a couple of questions about my Denon SCs and what the difference between the Denon SC series media players are versus the Pioneer CDJ 3000's. And I kind of want to break it down a little bit today to kind of tell you the difference between the two and maybe help you decide which ones are best for you or just figure out what the difference is. We're going to talk about that here today on Music Gear Monday. Denon and Pioneer, two different companies. They've been around for a while, making controllers, making electronics. Pioneer has a brand name that a lot of DJs trust. A lot of DJs have been using for years. They're in all the major clubs. They're at all the major festivals. So Pioneer is one of those names that is kind of taking over the game when it comes to that flagship DJ setup. Here enters this brand Denon with their brand new SC series of media players that have a lot to offer for a lot cheaper than what Pioneer has been offering in their previous releases. Two really sought after media players in the last couple of years. Denon is making their SC series. They have an SC 5000 series, an SC 5000M series, and an SC 6000 series and 6000M series. The M stands for motorized, which kind of separates some of the differences right off the bat. Denon was making motorized CDJs, newer model CDJs in the past couple years, and Pioneer hasn't been making anything like that. They just released a controller, which we'll talk about later on, that is motorized, but we are talking CDJs. So some of the biggest differences between Pioneer and Denon: storage devices. Pioneer CDJ 3000s don't have built-in storage. They don't have a bay that you can install a hard drive into. They have your slots for an SD card or for a USB drive, and that's it. The SC6000 has a bay at the bottom of it where you can actually install a hard drive, a SATA hard drive, up to 8 terabytes, and it reads from that drive straight to your deck. No plugging or unplugging any drives or anything like that in. You do have the option with 4 additional USB slots to plug a thumb drive in, but if you do have that expansion in there, you could save directly to that drive and not worry about it. So storage is one of the big differences in the two, and that may or may not make it or break it for you. If you're using Pioneer's software record box and you have all your sets saved in there, and you could just dump it right to a thumb drive, pop that thumb drive in, and now they're making thumb drives that are 128 gigs, so you don't really have to worry too much about storage. But if you lose that thumb drive breaks, somebody bumps it at the club or anything like that, and you don't have a backup on you, you don't have music saved into the actual deck, then you're out of luck. So storage is one of the big differences when it comes to the two companies. The next thing is gonna be Wi-Fi capabilities. So the Denon SC 5000s and 6000s both have Wi-Fi built into them, so you could actually stream from different streaming services like Tidal, SoundCloud, Dropbox, BeatSource straight to the deck. So you can stream straight to the deck, and what it does is basically queues up that next song that's downloading while you're actually playing a record, so you don't have to worry too much about the time of that record loading. You can queue a bunch of stuff up and have it waiting for you to play. The Pioneer CDJ 3000s, they just released an firmware update that'll allow you to connect your CDJ 3000 to a router, which will allow you to connect to the internet and use streaming services to actually stream to your deck. Similar setup, but you do have to have that router connected, data link cable to the back, in order to be able to connect and stream. So being connected directly to a router is going to give you a better signal, and it's going to give you a more stable stream. Denon has it built in Wi-Fi. I've used it. It works really well. I've used it on Wi-Fi that wasn't that great, and it still worked really well. So I can say from using it, they do have some competition in the game of streaming devices. So that's the other difference between the two. There are differences being able to control certain things. So Denon has built-in lighting control thanks to Sound Switch. It's a company that makes DMX lighting controllers. They teamed up with Denon to create this software to help you be able to control different DMX lightings from your decks. You have a software that is built in that allows you to go in and set up presets, change colors, do different things like that, set up your whole show from your decks. You can also control hue lighting systems. So if you have one of the Denon Prime players, you can go in there and you can connect to Wi-Fi. You can see your hue lighting system, the hue bridge, and you can actually go in and control your hue lighting setup from the deck. That is one thing that the Pioneer CDJ 3000s do not have yet. Could be something they can implement later on in a firmware update, but we don't know yet. That is something that is specific to Prime players right now. That's another thing that is different from the two. The third thing is your CDJ 3000s give you one CDJ per unit, right? So you get one line out, RCA out, left and right, or digital out on each unit. On the Prime players, you get two sets. So you have a deck A and a deck B on one unit, meaning you can go and play a gig with just one unit, and you're able to see both decks, deck A and deck B, from one unit on the screen on one unit. So if you have a 4-channel mixer and you have two Denon Prime players, you essentially have 4 Denon Prime players or 4 CDJs. With the Pioneer CDJ 3000s, you only get one deck on each side. That is one of the other differences in the Prime players versus the CDJ 3000s. They both have giant, beautiful screens that display the waveforms, show you all of the information. You have needle scrubbing. The CDJ 3000s, could say by using them, the platters feel a lot smoother. They feel a lot more traditional CDJ style. The CDJ SC 5000s, they're a little heavy on the platters. The spin back and spin forward on them can be a little bit weird sometimes, but they're still really, really good. I still really love them. I love my 5000s that I have. They feel like premium players, but the CDJs, they do just have a different feel to them. Again, I love Pioneer and I love Denon, and I love to see what these guys keep doing for the future. I can't wait to see what the next thing is that they create, and yeah, I'll be paying attention to that for sure. With the SC series, the Denons, you can actually buy an LC series model and use that for your deck B to control it as well. So if you want to save money, the Denon route might be a better way for you to go. But if you're trying to play in some of the major clubs, play at major festivals, you should really familiarize yourself with the Pioneer setup, because that is what they're using at a lot of these clubs and festivals. If you're a big enough DJ, headliner, whatever, you could probably request Denons or bring your own, so that might not be an issue for you. But yeah, those are the major differences between the two. You've got the storage difference, you've got the connectivity difference, the controllability difference, and then you have the actual decks themselves, the outputs. Those are the biggest differences between the CDJ 3000s and the Denon Prime players, the SC series players. They're both really, really great, and you're gonna have a hard time picking between the two. If you're a fan of Pioneer, you're probably just gonna go with the 3000s, and if you're somebody that likes to explore, that's where you'll probably have an issue. But yeah, what do you guys think of the Denon Prime players, the Pioneer players? Which ones do you like? Which ones would you get if you had the choice? Put it in the comments below and we'll keep the conversation going. That's going to be it for today's Music Gear Monday. We'll catch you guys here next week. Peace.